Many women under a Jezebel spirit, specifically with their partners, not with their helpmeet, with their partner business deals. Women who marry for zip codes, not to get into infidelity because she cannot get a release with her business partner. She cannot get a release with her business partner, which also explains the subconscious behaviors or the non-cognitive reactionary behaviors anywhere in the Holy Bible Live, in the grocery store, in the restaurant. Her husband is standing right beside her. She's in your face, 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 in your face. Because the next time they're intimate, in air quote, the next time they're intimate with the lights off, she's imprinting your image in her brainstem. She's imprinting your image so she can recall it the next time she's, quote, intimate with her business partner. That's why she's doing that with her husband with her business partner standing right beside her in the grocery store. In your face, in your face, in your face, in your face. Has nothing to do with social intelligence. Has nothing to do with, hey brother, how are you? Have a blessed day. Has nothing to do with emotional intelligence, self-awareness, self-understanding, spiritual intelligence, self-awareness, self-understanding, age appropriate. Age appropriate. Has nothing to do with her social intellect. Okay? Jezebel will summon a lust demon with her husband right there beside her. And lust at you, and lust at you. And metaphysically, you can feel her pierce you. I mean, you can feel the laser beam focus. You can feel when you turn your back. You can feel the woman's hyper concentration. This is all metaphysical. Almost like telepathy. Not telepathy, but almost like the shadow of telepathy, which will be like a very, very soft mind to mind connection. And also what I'm describing are mutual attractions, one-sided mutual attractions, as well as, for this illustration, one-sided non-mutual attractions. For this illustration would be synonymous, like ice, water, or steam. That's why married women will laser beam you. Because it's a business deal. She made for a zip code, not for love. She's trying to burn your image into her brainstem so she can recall it when she lays down with her business partner with the lights off. Now that's some true pattern recognition. Also, women with a Jezebel spirit relating to fallout of psychopathy and sociopathy, they will try to do it in the workplace, but primarily they'll do it with their business partner. A reprobate mind woman, a double-minded woman, unstable in all her ways. Now, keep in mind the hard wiring system, like the hard wiring of a Ford, of a Chevy Impala and a Crown Vic, a Ferrari and a Bugatti. The hard wiring, okay, the hard wiring of a female brain is built for emotional intelligence. So primarily with her business partner, a woman with a Jezebel spirit is very comfortable with her own psychopathy or sociopathy. And she will easily, when it's convenient to do so, play around with the flux of her pitch range. And she will easily manipulate her octaves. Okay, she will easily manipulate her octaves, her vocal cords, and play around with the flux of her octaves. To mirror or match what she releases into the atmosphere, the babble she releases into the atmosphere. Whatever the topic range, whatever the discussions, whatever the intangibles that circumnavigate the discussion. whatever connotations are written on the wall behind the discussion. She will easily, because it's convenient to do so, from the first person of a reprobate mind, to play around and manipulate the flux of her octave range. Because ultimately, she will exhibit this behavior because Jezebel takes John Doe for a joke. She takes John Doe for a scapegoat. She does not take John Doe serious. A woman with a Jezebel spirit is a spineless coward. A spineless coward. A woman with a Jezebel spirit is a spineless coward. No way until hell freezes over. Jezebel will never put herself in a situation where she is equally yoked. If she is equally yoked to her helpmeet, there can be no power, control, or authority. If she is equally yoked to her helpmeet, there can be no power, control, or authority over him. That's why some of you alpha males who tried to backslide, you could barely forget about paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3. For some of you, before you could complete the first sentence, no, don't talk to me, no, thank you, no. Eyeballs rolling everywhere, Tokyo drifting, all the way back in her head, no. All of this unintelligible, dialect, unintelligible dialect that most of us can't really decipher. Why? Because she perceived you as to be equally yoked genetically. She perceived you to be her equal or to be superior to her genetically. In most cases. Not to get into beta females who aim way too high for all the wrong reasons and think they can just pull an alpha male. Not to get into that variance. She perceives you, alpha male, as a threat. And I'm not talking about the world's definition of an alpha male being a sexual predator, being promiscuous, having babies with random women. This is not about the world's definition. Anyone who forms covenant with Romans 10:9, for me, would denote an alpha male. Because that's how hard it is. That's how difficult it is, initially, if I remember correctly, to bend the knee and bow, to submit to a higher power. That's how difficult it is. She perceives you as a threat. She does not perceive any beta male. She does not perceive John Doe to be a threat. That's why John Doe, this beta male, is her business partner. She sees herself superior, not to get into psychopathy, not to get into Jezebel's understanding of the Western overly fickle society, how she uses that to hedge herself leverage against this beta male, knowing the society is overly fickle, knowing he cannot just go talk to any woman and get her phone number because of his outer appearance, knowing she can manipulate him, she can entrap him, she can dominate him, she can stand over him, stand under him, babysit him, mother him, emasculate him, effeminize him because of his outer appearance, knowing how the overly Western fickle society views his less than stellar, from the viewpoint of overly fickle Western society, less than stellar outer appearance, the architecture of his clay, but more specifically the facial architecture of his clay, knowing she can use that and hang that over him as leverage to stand over him, stand under him, babysit him, mother him, dominate him, emasculate him, feminize him. Which is why she's not looking at you, alpha. She's looking at the beta. She can control, manipulate. She can perform all the emotional witchcraft she likes with this beta male. She cannot do that to you. Which is why some of you who tried to backslide, you couldn't even make it to the period of your first train of thought before she cut you off. No. Why? With this unicorn Give this man her phone number, who's not even half of what you are, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, socially. Not even 1/4 of what you are. I just told you. I just told you why she would give him, why this John Doe would be her draft pick and not you, man of God. I just told you. Has nothing to do with love. Has nothing to do with holy matrimony. Jezebel covets power, control, great authority. That's why Jezebel surrounds herself with eunuchs. The Instagram models, all of the photographers are faggots. She will never let a heterosexual or an alpha male take those photographs. In the restaurants, anywhere in the Holy Bible Live, Jezebel surrounds herself with faggots because she has power, control, authority over a faggot, because he idolizes her. He wants to be like her. He wants to mirror and imitate all of her ways, her facial expressions, her micro expressions, her body language, her tones of body language, her vocabulary, her cadence, her speech patterns, how she plays around with the flux of her octaves, gestures, postures, head movements, neck movements, the turns and semi-turns and snaps of the wrist, the snaps of the fingers, her color coordination, her fashion sense. This faggot wants to be like her in every possible way. In every possible way. That's why she that gives, from the first person of Jezebel's reprobate mind, these are implied odds, immense implied odds. That's why she surrounds herself with eunuchs, because they idolize her. They want to be like her. This control, power, authority from the first person of a reprobate mind is viewed to be as implied odds, not reverse implied odds, not adverse to the survival of humanity, society, not adverse to survival of the family unit, not counterintuitive, self-defeating, genocidal. No, these are not reverse implied odds by pandering to their faggotry. Pandering to two men raping each other. No, these are not reverse implied odds, these are implied odds. One with a Jezebel spirit is the greatest sexual predator there is when you think about it. Anyone who understands logic, critical thinking, deductive reasoning, it's counterintuitive, it's self-defeating. To yoke to anyone who is not your equal. It's counterintuitive, self-defeating to approach courtship with ulterior motive, hidden agenda. To approach courtship knowing you're wrestling with psychopathy, mental illness. That's counterintuitive and self-defeating. Knowing you're a predator, or you have predatory behaviors, predatory ways. Knowing you have 0.00 all the way to the right of the decimal interest in an equal yoke, an equal covenant. Knowing you're going to prey on someone and manipulate someone. That is counterintuitive and self-defeating. Even though the Bible tells us the Lord thy God is not mocked. Even though they're unequally yoked. Jezebel and Ahab, paradoxically, ironically, are equally yoked. On one accord, uniform in both parties' idiocracy, in both parties' biblical literacy, spiritual bankruptcy, and or moral or total depravity. They're equally yoked on one accord from that standpoint. Because the Lord thy God is not mocked, the Bible tells us. They're both equally yoked in the body of Legion, both equally yoked outside the body of Christ. Both equally yoked in darkness, uniform, on one accord. Spiritually, emotionally, deaf, dumb, blind, on that front, they're equally yoked. Because the Lord thy God is not mocked. The fact one would deliberately piss their birthright in the toilet for control, power, authority, and try to usurp, circumvent sovereign math. If we look at sovereign game theorem of the Most High, he turns evil into good for his purposes. What does that mean? That means John Doe, Jane Doe, who's been screwed, who's been counterfeited, who have, because of the stock exchange of modern day Western world courtship, John Doe, Jane Doe, who have been counterfeited and have had their birthright stolen from them because of all this sexual perversion and all this predatory behavior, all this psychopathy, have had their birthright stolen from them. Sovereign game theorem tells us, according to scripture, he uses evil for good for his purposes, to glorify his name. What that tells us, all John Doe, Jane Doe has to do is be patient. The Most High God will raise up another who will obey him, who will listen to his voice. He will manipulate or rig who, what, where, when, why, in such a way you two will cross paths in the Holy Bible life. Even though you lost or had your original birthright stolen, another will be handed to you. Another birthright will be prepared for you. The Lord makes a way out of no way. And the prison population, aside, that subtracts from the total pool available, the eunuchs these ungodly women pander to, that take away from the available pool. A lot of these heterosexuals practicing their faggotry has cost many, many women their birthright. Those succumb to the prison industry has cost many, 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 many women their birthright. Those succumb to freak accidents, the ER, the ICU, highway fatalities, tollway fatalities, illnesses has cost women their birthright. Abortion has cost many women and many John Does their birthright. All this aside, the Lord still can make a way out of no way. Even if in the natural realm, physically, you don't receive your birthright from that standpoint. The bridegroom, because the church is the bride. The bridegroom, Yeshua HaMashiach, is the only husband any of us will ever need. The only husband salvation can come through is the bridegroom, the Son of God. Because the work was done on the cross. Romans 10 and 9. Now, I'm out of time. All praise due unto the Most High Abba, his Son, Jesus, the Christ of Nazareth, Yeshua HaMashiach. Shalom.